My commitment to the safety of the Jewish people, the security of Israel, and its right to exist as an independent Jewish state is ironclad, even when we disagree. My administration is working around the clock to free remaining hostages and will not rest until we bring them all home.
President Biden there pledging to help bring the remaining Israeli hostages held by Hamas home during a Holocaust remembrance ceremony earlier this week. Ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas ended with no deal, leaving family members wondering the next move. One of those hostages is Hersh Goldberg-Polin. The 23-year-old was kidnapped on October the 7th and taken to Gaza. Joining me now is Hersh's mother, Rachel Goldberg-Polin. Rachel, thank you so much for being with us today. I know it is Mother's Day, and I know this is not how you want to be spending it. But at the moment, there is so much dialogue, there are so many political divisions, there's so much ceasefire talk, and they're going so slowly. Do you feel today that not enough is being done, and what do you think needs to be done?
Well, I think it's clear that not enough is being done because we still have 132 cherished souls who are being held captive for 219 days. And within that cohort of 132 souls, there are the American 8, who I think that not most Americans even are aware that there are American innocent civilians being held against their will. But there's a lot of people in that hostage cohort that we don't hear about. When we hear a lot of noise about the hostages being held, you very rarely hear about the Muslim Arabs who are hostage. You very rarely hear about the Thai Buddhists who are held hostage. You very rarely hear about the Black Christian Africans who are being held hostage. There's Nepalese, there are Mexicans, there are Argentinians, there are Germans. And somehow there has been an attempt to make this group of people a monolithic, homogenous group.
Why do you think that has happened? Do you think that it just doesn't serve the political benefits of the sides working for a solution?
I think it's an excellent question, Benjamin. I would actually turn it around to you, being someone in the media, since I have nothing to do with why certain things are crafted or narrated a certain way. But I find it curious and suspicious that for whatever reason, that has not been publicly, saturating the news.
I would also ask at the moment, do you think that perhaps an Israeli invasion into Rafah, do you think that would put your son, would put all these other hostages, their lives in danger?
Well, listen, I'm not a military strategist. I am a mother who is horribly, miserably worried about her only son, who has been in an active war zone for 219 days, along with 131 other people who, the oldest one is a grandpa, Shlomo, who is 86 years old. The youngest one is Kfir, who is 1.5 years old. We have daughters, sons, sisters, brothers, spouses, fathers, mothers, grandparents, and we are all horribly worried about our loved ones being in harm's way.
Would you like to see the ceasefire talks continue? I mean, it must have been awful to see those end. Is that where you think a solution might be found?
Well, I think that we really have to be creative and insightful and figure out a way forward. Both sides really have to figure out a way forward, and calling for a timeout certainly will give some time for people to start to think straight again. I think what really gets lost in this is that America should not be considered sort of this neutral, negotiator. America was also a victim on October 7th. 45 Americans were killed on October 7th. 12 were taken into captivity, and 8 are still being held hostage. And I certainly want all the suffering in the region, and there's so much suffering to go around. I mean, there's no competition here. There are hundreds of thousands of innocent civilians in Gaza who are suffering, and there are also 132 innocent civilians in Gaza who were dragged there on October 7th who are suffering. I think people have trouble holding those two truths, and that does an injustice to everyone involved.
Yeah, and you've made it very clear that this was an attack on America. And also, Rachel, we will try to keep telling the stories of your son and all the other people who are being held, because they have to be the main focus of what we do. Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.